We now bring to you a special broadcast to the nation by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, to mark Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary.
Dear compatriots, 1st October each year is an opportunity for us to reflect and thank God for His endless blessings on our country. It is also time for us collectively to remember the sacrifices made by our founders and great leaders first, by soldiers, by distinguished public servants, by traditional leaders, by our workers, sacrifices on which Nigeria has been built over the 59 years since independence in 1960, and rededicate ourselves to attaining the goals which we have set for ourselves, a united, prosperous, and purposeful nation in the face of the 21st century opportunities and challenges. In the past 4 years, the majority of Nigerians have committed to change for the better. Indeed, this administration was re-elected by Nigerians on a mandate to deliver positive and enduring change through maintaining our national security, restoring sustainable and inclusive economic growth and development, and fighting corruption against all internal and external threats. This change can only be delivered if we are united in purpose as individuals and as a nation. We must all remain committed to achieving this positive and enduring change. As I stated 4 years ago, change does not just happen. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. Simply put, to bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens. Good governance and economic development cannot be sustained without an enabling environment of peace and security. In the last 4 years, we have combated the terrorist scourge of Boko Haram. We owe a debt of gratitude to our gallant men and women in arms, through whose efforts we have been able to achieve the present results. We are also grateful to our neighbors and allies within the region and across the world who have supported us on this front. The capacity of our armed forces to defend our territorial integrity continues to be enhanced by the acquisition of military hardware, as well as continued improvements in the working conditions of our servicemen and women. The Ministry of Police Affairs has been resuscitated to oversee the development and implementation of strategies to enhance internal security. My recent assent to the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Establishment Act has created a legal framework to support our police with increased fiscal resources to enhance their law enforcement capabilities. These initiatives are being complemented by the ongoing recruitment of 10,000 constables into the Nigerian police force. This clearly demonstrates our commitment to arrest the incidents of armed robbery, kidnapping, and other violent crimes across our nation. We remain equally resolute in our efforts to combat militant attacks on our oil and gas facilities in the Niger Delta and accelerate the Ogoni cleanup to address long-standing environmental challenges in that region. The recent redeployment of the Niger Delta Development Commission from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs underscores our commitment to enhance the living standards of our communities in the Niger Delta through coordinated and appropriate programs. Our attention is increasingly being focused on cyber crimes and the abuse of technology through hate speech and other divisive material being propagated on social media. Whilst we uphold the constitutional rights of our people to freedom of expression and association, where the purported exercise of these rights infringes on the rights of other citizens or threatens to undermine our national security, we will take firm and decisive action. In this regard, I reiterate my call for all to exercise restraint, tolerance, and mutual respect in airing their grievances and frustrations. Whilst the ongoing national discourse on various political and religious issues is healthy and welcome, we must not forget the lessons of our past, lessons that are most relevant on a day such as this. The path of hatred and distrust only leads to hostility and destruction. I believe that the vast majority of Nigerians would rather tread the path of peace and prosperity as we continue to uphold and cherish our unity. This administration inherited a skewed economy where oil sector comprised only 8% of gross domestic product but contributed 70% of government revenue and 90% foreign exchange earnings over the years. Past periods of relatively high economic growth were driven by our reliance on oil sector revenues to finance our demand for imported goods and services. Regrettably, previous governments abandoned the residual investment-driven non-oil sector, which constituted 40% of gross domestic product and comprised agriculture, livestock, agro-processing, arts, entertainment, mining and manufacturing activities that provide millions of jobs for able-bodied Nigerians and utilize locally available raw materials and labor for production. To address this imbalance, our commitment to achieving economic diversification has been at the heart of our economic strategies under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which I launched on 5th of April 2017. The Medium-Term Development Plan charted the trajectory for our economy to exit from recession and return to the path of sustainable, diversified, and inclusive growth for Nigerians. Pursuant to these reforms, the economy has recovered and we have had 9 successive quarters of growth since our exit from recession. The exchange rate in the last 3 years has remained stable, with robust reserves of $42.5 billion United States dollars, up from $23 billion United States dollars in October 2016. Learning from the mistakes of the past, this administration is committed to responsibly managing our oil wells endowments. We will continue to prudently save our oil income and invest more in the non-oil job-creating sectors. In this regard, we are significantly increasing investment in critical infrastructure. Last year, capital releases only commenced with the approval of the budget in June 2018. However, as at 20th June this year, up to 1.74 trillion naira has been released for capital projects in the 2018 fiscal year. Implementation of the 2019 capital budget, which was only approved in June 2019, will be accelerated to ensure that critical priority projects are completed or substantially addressed. The Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning has been directed to release 600 billion naira for capital expenditure in the next 3 months. To maximize impact, we shall continue to increasingly welcome and encourage private capital for infrastructural development through public-private partnership. Through the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, which I initiated in January this year, we are giving incentives to private sector inflow of over 205 billion naira in 19 Nigerian roads and bridges of 794.4 kilometers in 11 states of the Federation. As we push to diversify the economy, we still remain focused on optimizing the revenues generated from the oil and the gas sector. We will, working with the legislature, soon pass the Petroleum Industry Bill and amendments to the Deep Offshore Act and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contracts Act into law to ensure government obtains a fair share of oil revenues whilst encouraging private sector investment. We will also continue our fight against illegal bunkering of crude oil and the smuggling of refined petroleum products across our borders, found guilty of these acts. Whilst Nigeria remains committed to free and fair continental and international trade, we will not hesitate to take all necessary steps to tackle illegal smuggling, transshipment, and other predatory trade practices that destroy jobs in our country. We are resolute in reforming the power sector. In August this year, we launched the Presidential Power Initiative to modernize the national grid in 3 phases, starting from 5 gigawatts to 7 gigawatts, then to 11 gigawatts by 2023, and finally 25 gigawatts afterwards. This program, in partnership with the German government and Siemens, will provide end-to-end electrification solutions that will resolve our transmission and distribution challenges. The program will also look to localize the development and assembly of smart meters, as well as operations and maintenance capabilities of transmission and distribution infrastructure. I am pleased with the improved interagency collaboration between the Ministry of Power and the regulators in the banking and power sectors to ensure that electricity sales, billings, and collections are automated and become cashless. These initiatives are important to ensure that the technical and collection losses in the sector are substantially reduced. I remain confident that Nigerians will have affordable and uninterrupted electricity supply in the not too distant future. Our efforts to improve the power sector will complement other infrastructure investments, projects under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, which is investing in the Mambila Power Plant project, as well as key economic road infrastructure such as the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Second Niger Bridge, and Abuja-Kano Expressway. The first set of these projects remain on track to be completed by 2022. Our journey to food security and self-sufficiency is well underway. We have made remarkable progress in almost all segments of the agriculture value chain, from fertilizers to rice to animal feed production. We shall sustain these policies to ensure additional investments are channeled, thereby creating more jobs in the sector. We must not go back to the days of importing food and thereby exporting jobs. Our commitment to achieving macroeconomic stability and economic diversification has been underscored by the merger of the Ministry of Finance with the Ministry of Budget and the National Planning. This combined ministry has the important mandate to enhance the management of domestic and global fiscal risks, coordinate policies with the trade and monetary authorities, raise and deploy revenues to fund budgeted expenditure, and integrate annual budgets and medium-term fiscal strategies. With this, our revenue-generating and reporting agencies will come under much greater scrutiny. Going forward, the new performance management framework will reward exceptional revenue performance, while severe consequences will attend failures to achieve agreed revenue targets. I recently constituted an Economic Advisory Council to advise me on inclusive and sustainable macroeconomic, fiscal, and monetary policies. This independent body will work with relevant cabinet members and the heads of key monetary, fiscal, and trade agencies to ensure we remain on track as we strive for collective prosperity. However, we are also committed to ensure that the inconvenience associated with any painful policy adjustments is moderated, such that the poor and the vulnerable who are most at risk do not bear the brunt. Our ongoing 500 billion naira sufficient intervention program continues to target these vulnerable groups through the homegrown school feeding program, government economic empowerment program, Empower Job Creation Program, loans for traders and artisans, conditional cash transfers to the poorest families, and social housing scheme. To institutionalize these impactful programs, we created the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development, which shall consolidate and build on our achievements to date. To the beneficiaries of these programs, I want to reassure you that our commitment to social inclusion will only increase. Our population growth rate remains among the highest in the world, presenting both challenges as well as opportunities. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that we provide adequate resources to meet the basic needs of our teeming youth. Accordingly, we shall continue to invest in education, health, water and sanitation, as well as food security, to ensure that their basic needs are met, while providing them with every opportunity to live peaceful, prosperous, and productive lives. On fighting corruption, our institutional reforms to enforce the Treasury's single account policy, introduce the Whistleblowers Initiative, expand the coverage of the Integrated Payroll Personnel and Information System, as well as the Government Integrated Management Information System, have saved billions of naira over the last 4 years and deterred the rampant theft and mismanagement of the public funds that have plagued our public service. The Ministry of Justice, the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission will continue to address this menace. We are determined to ensure that transparency and good governance are institutionalized in public service. We must commit to installing a culture of good governance in all we do. This administration has fought against corruption by investigating and prosecuting those accused of embezzlement and the misuse of public resources. We have empowered teams of prosecutors, assembled detailed databases of evidence, traced the proceeds of crimes, and accelerated recovery of stolen funds. Furthermore, we partnered with our friends abroad to combat tax evasion, smuggling, terrorism, and illicit financial flows. In June 2018, I assented to the Mutual Assistance in Criminal Matters Act to provide a domestic legal framework for obtaining international assistance in criminal matters. This measure has already strengthened our law enforcement agencies in obtaining evidence, investigating suspects, and facilitating the recovery, forfeiture, and confiscation of property implicated as proceeds of crime. An example is the $300 million United States dollars recently identified as part of the Abuja money laundering case, working closely with the government of the United States of America. The Federal Ministry of Justice is working with the United States Department of Justice to conclude a memorandum of understanding to expedite the repatriation of these funds. The P&ID Arbitral Award has underscored the manner in which significant economic damage has been caused by the past activities of a few corrupt and unpatriotic Nigerians. The policies that we are putting in place today are to ensure such criminal and unpatriotic acts do not go without consequences. Our renewed partnership with the 9th National Assembly will facilitate the swift passage of enabling laws that will institutionalize these anti-corruption efforts in our criminal justice system. In this connection, I call upon our states to intensify their own efforts to instill greater fiscal transparency and accountability, and to ensure greater fiscal efficiency and optimum use of our very scarce resources. The blight of corruption is fighting back. Nevertheless, this is a battle that we shall see through, and this is a war which we shall win by the grace of God. I will also call upon all Nigerians from every walk of life to combat corruption at every turn by choosing to question and confront corrupt practices, by reporting unethical practices, or through whistleblowing. Together, we can overcome corruption and will no longer be a country defined by corruption. Fellow Nigerians, let me reiterate my call for unity across our dear nation. Nigeria will emerge from our present challenges stronger and more resilient than ever, but only if all of us join hands to entrench good governance, foster inclusive economic development, and defend and protect our nation from all those who would wish us ill. I thank you all. I thank you most sincerely and wish you a happy Independence anniversary. May God bless you all, and may He continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NTA. We now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast. Please stay tuned.
And enjoy the evening as we relish the diversity of our people in cuisine and culture. Before I end my remarks, I sincerely apologize to the national chairman of our party. Welcome. I wish you all a very memorable and rewarding evening, and I thank you for taking out time, in spite of your very, very busy schedules, to come and share this evening in celebration of Nigeria at 59. Thank you, and God bless you. Bon appetit.
Another warm round of applause for the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. I have, in my view, I can cite His Excellency, the former Vice President, Architect Namadi Sambo Jisue. Warm round of applause for him. Your Excellency, welcome.
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for staying with us, the Nigerian Television Authority, as we continue the live broadcast of activities marking the 59th independence anniversary of the country. We are here again at the banquet hall of the State House. You may call it the conference center if you like, for the 2019 Independence Dinner and Gala Night. Well, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is already seated, and other dignitaries, and you have not missed much. You've just had the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, just delivered his welcome address. My name is Jide Onifate, and on behalf of the management of the Nigerian Television Authority, the outside live broadcast crew, I welcome you again.
And are saturated with our prayers. We don't need to panic. The turbulence will soon be over, and we'll gain more altitude as a nation. Every country gains altitude as a team. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, cultural troop from Cross River State. God bless you.
O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, and help our youths the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and truth. Great lofty heights may we all attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. How else? How else can a nation be rewarded but to watch her elements of disintegration continually dysfunctional? 50 years, 59 years of independence, excellent, brilliant, new level of governance and economic recovery. And in the Cross River State spirit, all the way from the hills and mountains of the northern senatorial district of Cross River State, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you tonight Northfest, a northern festival, a complete traditional display and show of gratitude for productivity. Indeed, a festival of harvest and unity. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy. The vision is very clear. This is good thinking for Nigeria. A very purposeful leadership. The alternative economic solution in Nigeria is indeed ingenious of President Buhari's administration. As you can see, he is steadfast and holding on to it in the ongoing agricultural revolution across the country. Like the federal government support for cross-river rice seed and seedling, cross-river cocoa processing, we need not say more. Ladies and gentlemen, from the central senatorial district of Cross River State, we bring you a people who identify with agricultural economic solutions. Over there, the Liverpool Festival celebrates fertility and appease our enduring good soil. Oh, maidens of beauty and pride, herald the blessing of Mother Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this piece.
Homage, Your Excellency. I have come to pay. We have come to pay. It is our heritage. When a king rules visionarily and selflessly, we pay homage. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Southern Senatorial District of Cross River State, we honor you tonight with the Utomo Obong of the Efik Kingdom, the Akachak Festival of the Oban, and the Ejagan Festival of the Kwas. Homage, Your Excellency, to a working and determined administration. Enjoy.
with a great smile. Let's fly high while holding hands together, the flags of our green, white, green. Let's see the beauty in this vast land we call Nigeria, the hopes and dreams that keep rising in our hearts with every rising sun. Fellow Nigerians, we are the giants of Africa. We are the people. We are the nation's paradise. Across rivers, hills, plateaus, we are the true sons of the soil. We are the light of the nation. We are nature's gift to this nation. We are the young shall grow, the heartbeat of the nation, home of hospitality. We all are bounded together in this grand center of unity. We are home of commerce, the land of promise, the food basket of the nation, center of excellence. We are indeed a gift to Africa. We are one. We are one Nigeria. We are the Nigerian dream we all wake up every morning to build in our streets and offices. And we would hold hands together and promise that we would make history together. The future is crystal clear. The Nigerian dream is a reality right before our eyes. Justice shall reign while injustice is chained. Insurgency lamed and corruption shall die an untimely death. We pledge to promote peace and national unity, even if it is to our very last kobo. Peace be still, we speak to our northeast, and with strength establish the seat of our king, like the strong rocks we have in the Aso. Abino Bisu, Nasu. The future, again I say, is crystal clear. Peace and order across all of our borders. We shall heal this land, spread love, and heal the land. Heal the land, heal the world, spread love and heal the world, heal the world, heal the world, spread love and heal the world, heal the world, heal the world, spread love and heal the world, heal the world, heal the world, spread love and heal the world. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we all will rise and shine like the sun. We are a great nation. Indeed, we are a great nation, and we will stand and fight corruption. The labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. And if we ever give anything in this life, may we not give up hopes and dreams of making this country a better one. May our hands build bridges strong enough to hold my brother's hands. And if we ever failed while growing up, may we not fail at 59 to look deep into my brother's eyes from the north, south, east, and west to see the beauty and the unity of our diversity. This is our fatherland, and we pledge to defend our unity. So help us God. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the home of the biggest Black Street Party, we bring to you, as we celebrate Nigeria at 59, the Calabar Carnival, colors and flamboyance.
The labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Happy Independence Day. Think Nigeria. If your hands are free, please celebrate them with a warm round of applause, Your Excellencies. Thank you very much, all the way from Cross River State, the Cross River Cultural Troupe. Thank you. Your Excellency, our amiable Vice President and your wife, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've enjoyed the culture of the southern Nigeria. Allow me at this juncture to invite, all the way from Kano State, their cultural troupe. Please enjoy your meal whilst you can feed your eyes also. Thank you very much.
like the public notice reads, African, proudly, painted on the high walls of my heart and showing on the scrolls of my black lethal skin, painted black on black, bold as our heroes past. It is clearly seen and read by everyone, because to me, these signs are obvious. Black, bold, block letters emboldened together. And it gives me joy to see that the hairs, the young ones are growing and standing strong to pledge for the unity of one black nation. A strand of hair will stand to fall alone, but I stand here as a gang of black hairs standing to pledge for the unity of one black nation. See the notion, the paintings in me as my black hair grows on the black skin, skinned away sometimes by wounds and scourges. It heals back to form a black scar on the black skin. This must be the work of an artist, telling me one thing. And whether I change tones, bleachings on the bleeding skin, thongs road and rapping seems like a white man, I still remain African. I said I am African. And I tell tales from Asorok down to Ikonito. I am the pride of Africa. I am the one that will not forget my motherland. Peace.
Celebration, please. Thank you very much, Cross River. Just hold it there for a while. Thank you. Celebrate them for me. Another warm round of applause for the Cross River Cultural Troupe. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, whilst we're having dinner, allow us gain altitude as we prepare our hearts. And I very humbly borrow your attention to invite our celebrated Nigerian who is doing us proud and is gaining altitude in the center called Africa. He holds a BSc in Agri-Economics, an MSc in Agri-Economics, and a PhD in Agri-Economics. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for the keynote address, allow me welcome President and Chairman, Board of Directors, Afri-Exim Bank, Professor Benedict Orama. A warm round of applause for him, please. Your Excellency, you're welcome. Let's celebrate Professor Benedict Orama for the keynote address.
Good evening, fellow Nigerians. Happy Independence Day. Your Excellency, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and his wife, Your Excellencies, former heads of state here present, and former Vice President here present. Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, President of the Senate of the Federation, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Justice Ibrahim Mohammed, Chief Justice of the Federation, Honorable Boss Mustafa, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, honorable ministers and members of the Federal Executive Council, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads of service, permanent secretaries, colleagues from Afreximbank, captains of industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I deeply appreciate the honor and privilege of standing on this podium on this special day for Nigeria to address this august audience. I thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari and his government for the honor accorded me and the African Export-Import Bank, the institution I lead. I take this opportunity to put on record Afreximbank's appreciation for the strong support it receives from Nigeria under the leadership of President Buhari. I stand inspired by the opportunity to speak on a subject of my conviction and to which Afreximbank has committed significant resources. With the coming into force of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, Africa has finally taken decisive steps to rid itself of the vestiges of colonialism, a prerequisite to achieving meaningful economic progress. In a remarkable stream of events, African leaders rose to the challenge of their calling. Courage trumped fear. Vision upstaged myopia. And collective self-reliance became the clarion call for a continent so divided so that it could be exploited. Nigeria should be proud to have been the main driver of the progress we are witnessing across Africa. For the Lagos Plan of Action some 39 years ago, to the Abuja Treaty in 1991, it was in Nigeria that a child called the AfCFTA was conceived. Although it was eventually delivered in Kigali, Rwanda in March last year, that child's future looked uncertain until Nigeria blew life into it when it signed the treaty establishing the AfCFTA. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to spend a few minutes to lay out the historical context that should drive the attitude and the approach of Africans towards the AfCFTA. I do this mindful that it is the knowledge of our history that will help us shape our vision for tomorrow. Contrary to the narrative that paints Africa as a historically backward and barbaric continent, as a shithole continent, in the medieval times and even before, Africa was great. That greatness was built on industry and the trade that blossomed between and among African kingdoms, which created tremendous wealth and civilizations that prevailed in that period. Some of those kingdoms that flourished within and around the present-day Nigeria included the old Mali Empire, the Karim-Bornu Empire, as well as the old Benin and Oyo empires. The Arab chronicler Al-Omari wrote in 1324 that Mansa Musa, the king of Mali, went on a pilgrimage to Mecca, stopping in Cairo en route. He gave us so much gold in Cairo that gold prices were depressed for 12 years. Mali attracted global attention of the world, drawn by Duquette in 1330. And designers from the Arab world migrated to Mali, and Timbuktu emerged as a center of learning, architecture, and commerce. It is reported that the kingdom traded from as far north as Morocco to as far south as the coastal West African kingdoms. Take the case of the old Benin Empire. In 1691, the Portuguese seafarer Lourenço Pinto visited the kingdom. He was astonished by what he saw and wrote, and I quote, "Great Benin, where the king resides, is larger than Lisbon. All the streets run straight and as far as the eyes can see. The houses are large, especially that of the king, which is richly decorated and has fine columns. The city is wealthy and industrious. It is so well governed that theft is unknown, and the people live in such security that they have no doors to their houses." The greatness of the old Benin Empire was again hinged on industry and trade. It is reported that the empire traded with kingdoms as far west as the present-day Ghana, supplying them textiles and beads. The intricate inter-kingdom trade linkages built at that time were extremely difficult for outsiders to break. It is no wonder that when the colonial powers arrived, they adopted a strategy of defeating the kingdoms and splitting the continent into small, fragmented, incoherent units. It was that strategy so effectively implemented that laid the foundation for the economic backwardness of Africa that we see today. It was this strategy that deprived Africa of the benefits of intra-regional economic intercourse. Mr. Albert Sarau, a colonial administrator in the 1920s, captured that strategy in his writings, and I quote, "Economically, a colonial possession means to the home country simply a privileged market, whence it will draw the raw materials it needs, dumping its own manufacturers in return. Economic policy is reduced to rudimentary procedures of gathering crops and bartering them. Moreover, by strictly imposing on the colonial dependency the exclusive consumption of its manufactured products, the metropolis prevents any efforts to use or manufacture local raw materials on the spot and any contact with the rest of the world. The colony is forbidden to establish any industry, to improve itself by economic progress, to rise above the stage of producing raw materials, or to do business with the neighboring territories for its own enrichment across the customs barriers erected by the metropolitan powers. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you can see from the foregoing that the AfCFTA represents the first major move by Africans towards full economic independence. It creates an unprecedented opportunity for Africa to finally take its destiny in its own hands, to sound the death knell for a culture of dependency foisted on us by history. to turn away from a choreographed march to perdition, and to say never again to 84,000 kilometers of borders that divide Africa today. While the political act of signing and ratifying the AfCFTA is important, it is only the beginning. The road ahead will be difficult. As we travel the difficult path, there will be disappointments, just as there will be occasions to celebrate. Every step we take must be deliberate, with a single-minded focus on the ultimate goal. A continent that becomes an integrated economic whole that leverages the strengths of the constituent units to generate a dynamic force for good for Africa. Nigeria has a very important role to play in this movement. Just as it led the efforts to a total political emancipation of Africa, Nigeria must take the lead in the emerging struggle for economic freedom. The objectives are similar, but the methods will differ. Instead of waving flags and sloganeering, economic policies will represent the beacons of the path we have chosen. Markets and not war fronts will represent the theaters of the struggle. The path to economic freedom can only be charted within a strategic mindset. It seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that the optimal strategy should be one that reverse engineers the colonial strategy I earlier alluded to. And this view is not new. Kwame Nkrumah, in his book, Africa Must Unite, wrote, and I quote, "The economic weakness of the new African states has been inherited from the colonial background, which subordinated their development to the needs of the colonial powers. To reverse the position and bring Africa into the realm of highly productive modern nations calls for gigantic self-help programs. Such a program can only be produced and implemented by integrated planning within overall policy decided by a continental authority. While the African Union provides the platform for sustaining the political independence of African nations, it is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that will provide the platform for collective self-reliance. Every African must therefore welcome the AfCFTA and thank our leaders for making it possible against all odds. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, although the promise of the AfCFTA in terms of developmental outcomes is not in question, the road ahead is likely to be rough and turbulent. It is the well-prepared that can best manage the adjustment costs and difficulties that the AfCFTA may bring. It is the well-prepared that can gain the full advantage of the opportunities the AfCFTA offers. Nigeria has a great opportunity to benefit immensely from the AfCFTA if certain actions are taken at federal, state, and corporate levels, and most especially if those actions are well coordinated. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that any country confronted with a potential change of massive proportions, as Nigeria and others have committed to, under the Continental Free Trade Agreement must plan for it. Such a plan should set short, medium, and long-term goals for the country and how these goals can be achieved. Without prejudice to the prescriptions of any such plan for Nigeria, it seems to me that the priority in the short term should be how to minimize the fiscal revenue losses that the AfCFTA may engender, so that it can continue to receive support of key segments of the society. AfCFTA estimates that the continental fiscal losses attributable to AfCFTA will exceed $4 billion per annum in the early years of implementation of the agreement. The bank has therefore agreed with the African Union to put in place an AfCFTA adjustment facility amounting to up to $3 billion, of which AfCFTA Bank has committed $1 billion already. We are also working to raise the balance of the $3 billion. Another important short-term priority should be to ensure that Nigerian businesses are well prepared to take advantage of the market opportunity the AfCFTA will throw open. This will involve reducing the cost of doing business in Nigeria and properly resourcing the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to run workshops on how to export to Africa. This should be organized for the private sector, especially the organized private sector, the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, the Chambers of Commerce, and similar organizations. AfCFTA Bank currently runs such programs in some countries, and we're pleased to do the same here in Nigeria. As a matter of short-term priority, government should consider triggering an adjustment process for operators in sectors likely to be negatively impacted by the AfCFTA. It will be unwise to aim to prop up uncompetitive sectors. Rather, operators therein should be assisted to adjust in an orderly manner to other activities. Arrangements should also be put in place to support those that can become competitive by simple retooling and transforming from import substitution to export orientation. For instance, a manufacturer who used to produce for Lagos and who is in Calabar may find that the best market for it may be Douala in Cameroon. So arrangements must be made to enable companies to think continental instead of local. AfCFTA Bank has gone into discussion with the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria and has committed an amount of $500 million to support the members of MAN to be able to make this adjustment. Another important short-term priority the government should consider should be to make appropriate and credible trade information available to Nigerian businesses interested in international trade, especially intra-African trade. The AfCFTA creates the legal basis for potential Pan-African market in goods and services, but does not create the market. Creating the market is a job of economic agents. The operation of those agents is usually driven by information. An item in such a short supply in Africa that it stands as a key constraint to promoting intra-regional trade. A study commissioned by AfCFTA Bank, UNCTAD and the Commonwealth Secretariat revealed the following. that South Africa imports leather further prepared after tanning from India at a price which is double the price at which Ethiopia exports the same input to the world. Mauritius and Nigeria globally import leather products from Italy and Belgium at a much higher cost as compared to what South Africa and Botswana globally export. Kenya imports rawhides from New Zealand, while Burundi exports the same to the world at a much lower cost. So unless businesses and traders know where the markets for their goods are or where they can source inputs, they cannot participate fully in the market the AfCFTA will create. Government must therefore consider providing solid, modern trade information services as a priority, as a way of making it possible to benefit from the AfCFTA. Trade information delivered with the latest digital technology may become the most cost-effective way of opening the African market to Nigerian businesses. At the Afrexim Bank, we've launched such a project, and in addition, we've also launched a biennial inter-African trade fair that provides information and a platform for exchange of ideas with other African businesses every 2 years. The next round of that trade fair will hold in Kigali in 2020. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the strongest economic argument in favor of the AfCFTA is that it will help African economies to industrialize and improve Africa's share of global manufacturing output. Accordingly, for Nigeria and other African countries, the medium to long-term goal under the AfCFTA should be to achieve clearly defined levels of industrialization. But what should be the focus? Available evidence shows that labor-intensive light manufacturers offers the best market opportunity for Nigeria today across Africa. Today, these products account for $60 billion of intra-African trade. China is also gradually moving away from the production of such goods, opening opportunities for African economies to aim to replace the over $65 billion of light manufactures China currently exports to Africa. Nigeria stands a very good chance of capturing a significant proportion of that market. Capturing just 15% can boost Nigeria's non-oil export performance by about 300%, bringing it to close to $15 billion. Further, the levels of unemployment in Nigeria will also recommend that the focus be kept on labor-intensive industrialization. Labor cost per month for factory labor averages about $80 in Nigeria and is one of the lowest in the world. Nigeria's population is also quite young, with close to 28% expected to be 30 years or below by 2030. If these youths do not find work, they can constitute a significant force for insecurity in the country. Capital, on the other hand, is harder to come by and is much more expensive in Africa than in other parts of the world. It follows, therefore, that the optimal industrialization strategy for Nigeria should be one that emphasizes labor-intensive industrialization. This conclusion has far-reaching implications. It suggests that resource-based industrialization for Nigeria may not necessarily target its abundant natural and agricultural resources, especially if the capital cost of extracting and adding value to them is too high, and the process requires limited use of labor. For instance, if $1 spent in building a modern cotton spinning factory generates less employment and less export unit value than $1 spent in building a garment factory, the country may be better off promoting the export of raw cotton or cotton lint and re-importing fabric for use in making garments for export. Over time, when capital is accumulated, a country may then consider promoting backward integration to processing of cotton into yarn. An important area of emphasis should also be the auto industry. A car is made up of about 3,000 components, each of which can be produced by labor-intensive factories. An auto industry strategy that prohibits imports of used cars and also creates credit facilities for car purchases will create millions of jobs in Nigeria. Afreximbank, the African Union, and major vehicle manufacturers are currently promoting this initiative. I'm happy that Nigeria is part of the discussions that are currently ongoing. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while I'm proposing that emphasis be placed on labor-intensive light manufacturing, I must quickly add that there are aspects of heavy industries that are crucial and which present low-hanging fruits for the country. For instance, the Dangote refinery and the associated petrochemical facility can be transformational for Nigeria and deserve full government support. The petrochemical plant can produce important raw materials that can support the production of inputs for light manufacturing, while complementing fertilizer supply from fertilizer plants operated by Rotore and Indorama to make Nigeria potentially a net fertilizer exporter in the not distant future. The Dangote refinery, which has the capacity to supply the needs of the entire West Africa, can form the basis for making the Gulf of Guinea a major global refining hub, creating foreign exchange, earning services, and activities that will employ many Nigerians and other Africans in the Gulf of Guinea. There is no reason why Singapore, which does not produce any oil, should have more refining capacity than Nigeria and the Gulf of Guinea. It is in recognition of that transformational power that AfCFTA has invested $1 billion to support the Dangote refinery. The government should also consider putting to work the heavy industrial capacities that are already in existence across Nigeria. The aluminum smelter at Ikotabase can add impetus to the economies of Guinea and Nigeria if put back to work. Guinea's abundant bauxite resources can be more economically transformed using abundant gas available in Nigeria in a win-win collaboration that can set the stage for similar sensible use of resources within the continent. Ajokuta and the larger steel facilities also present rare opportunities for reviving heavy industries. These opportunities must be seized because major investments have already been made. AfCFTA is able to support bankable initiatives that can put these assets back to work. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while the AfCFTA offers Nigeria an opportunity to industrialize and expand export manufacturing, it will be up to Nigeria and Nigerian businesses to seize the opportunity. The goods have to be produced competitively and traded. Access to markets is critical, as no meaningful production can occur if goods produced cannot be sold. Manufacturers are in most cases not traders and cannot therefore be relied upon to trade what they produce. I met a young Nigerian trader in Southern Africa some time ago. He looked well and told me he was a major distributor of consumer goods produced by a factory in that country in a location not far away from the capital. When I asked him how he was doing, he looked at me and told me, I know they don't like me, but they need me, or else they will have to eat what they produce. That conversation encapsulates the importance of the trader. Countries that became successful export manufacturing economies, such as Japan and South Korea, supported the emergence of export trading companies. These companies marketed the merchandise produced by the SMEs in those countries around the world, providing branding, sourcing market intelligence on behalf of the different manufacturers, and serving as anchors for credit granting to the numerous manufacturers that they represent. This was how global giants such as Mitsubishi and Mitsui in Japan and Samsung in South Korea emerged. This was also being done even here in Africa by Egypt through a company called Al Nasr. In contrast, Nigeria has for too long left the trading of its light manufacturers and agricultural products to informal traders. Every week, more than 100 trucks loaded with light manufacturers such as shoes and apparels make their way from Aba to Cameroon. It's all well and good as these exports create jobs and wealth. I, however, invite you to pause for a moment to consider the opportunity being missed due to the informal nature of this trade. It is because AfCFTA recognizes the importance of export trading companies in any arrangement to boost export manufacturing that it has launched an export trading company initiative to help countries create the environment for the emergence of such companies and to support them through credit facilities, advisory services, and trade information. I invite Nigeria to also consider that opportunity. Nigeria also has other market opening opportunities that, when combined with the export trading company initiative, can lead to the spread of Nigerian brand like the proverbial wildfire in the Harmattan. For instance, in many countries in Central, West, and Southern Africa, Nigerian immigrants control significant shares of the import and retail business for auto parts, plumbing materials, and other light manufacturers. I encourage Nigeria to study the size and scope of the market these represent and how these small retail businesses can be outlets for made in Nigeria goods where they operate. Reorienting them to source those goods from Nigeria instead of Asia can create the demand that can, within a short time, expand manufacturing capacities in Nigeria. Ways can be found to support some of those businesses because being non-resident Nigerians, their activities can also add to economic activities in Nigeria. Further, a deliberate effort needs to be made to leverage the reach of Nollywood across Africa and use it to create and nurture a uniquely made in Nigeria brand for Nigeria's manufactured goods. To understand the opportunity the creative industry can offer, consider how denim jeans was rapidly spread around the world by the US movie industry, which in turn boosted US textile industry. A recent issue of Film Daily wrote, and I quote, "This year marks 146 years since Levi's acquired patent of the eponymous 501 jeans. Levi Strauss & Co. was born and bred in San Francisco in 1853. It wasn't until Marlon Brando wore a pair of jeans in the film Wild One that the company gained worldwide recognition. And today, Levi's jeans are a classic staple in every denim wearer's wardrobe. Let's bring our minds all back to Africa and Nigeria and consider what will happen if the popular Nollywood actress Genevieve Nnaji wears an appropriately branded made in Nigeria good, and there is an avenue to distribute some of those goods in the different African markets. In essence, the message here is that the way to trade manufacturers is different from the way commodities are traded. Branding will be key in trading manufacturers. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there are other issues that we need to address if you want to use the AfCFTA to promote industrialization. These include creating capacities for cooperative manufacturing through building and sustaining industrial parks to enable us deal with the infrastructure challenges that currently exist. There is also the issue of financing. Finance is very key for the continent. Finance is very key to support economic activities and trade for Nigeria. Today, the capacity of the banks that we have to help us support the emergence of major export manufacturers does not give confidence that this will be sufficient. There is a need to support the recapitalization of Nigerian Export-Import Bank and also to support the further recapitalization of Bank of Industry. Without that, we will not be able to use them as instruments of delivering the policy we have to promote exports and support the strategy for the AfCFTA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, given the complexity of the work that had to be done, all hands, I think, must be on deck. The state government should be involved so that the opportunities that Nigeria diversity offers can be fully realized. Some Nigerian states compare favorably to a number of African countries in terms of economic size and population, but they are not contributing as much in terms of export performance. Whatever strategy that is developed to promote AfCFTA should consider involving the states. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to achieve the results, a coordinated action will be required. In a long-distance race, it's stamina that counts. In a sprint, speed is supreme. The race has to be run both as a sprint and as a long distance, so that Nigeria can accelerate when it needs to, while maintaining a steady pace with a view to achieving its ultimate goal. That goal should be set out in a carefully developed strategy and entrusted to accountable set of people to implement. This leads me to my last recommendation tonight, and that is that government should consider creating an agency for AfCFTA, perhaps under the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry. It is this agency that will be the arrowhead for achieving Nigeria's strategic objectives for membership of the AfCFTA. Permit me now to once again thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari and his government, represented here today by His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Vice President of the Federation, for giving me the honor to deliver this important address. I would also like to use the opportunity to thank the organizing committee of this event, under the chairmanship of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Mustapha Boss, for paving the way for the opportunity to speak here today. Special thanks to all the dignitaries here present for listening to this speech. My appreciation also goes to my family and colleagues at Afrexim Bank for their support and loyalty. And to all Nigerians, I say a big thank you for the honor you have just bestowed on me through the grace of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you all for listening.
Another generous round of applause for Prof, please. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the night is far spent, and the assignments on the state is quite enormous. The co-pilot in our midst needs to attend to other stuffs within the polity today. We need to expedite a little. Allow me at this juncture, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to invite for the vote of thanks before Mr. Vice President speaks to us. Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Richard Adeni Adebayo, CON. One round of applause for him, please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 2 weeks ago, I was privileged to represent His Excellency, Mr. President, at a function. Because I was reading his speech, I described myself at that function as Mr. President. Yesterday, I was again privileged to represent His Excellency, the Vice President, at a function. I was given his speech to read, and I described myself as the Vice President. Today, unfortunately, I have been reduced to what I am. Ladies and gentlemen, we give thanks to God Almighty for giving us the opportunity to be here to celebrate the 59th anniversary of our country, Nigeria. Big thanks must go to His Excellency, the President. Our thanks must also go to His Excellency, the Vice President, and his wife, who are here with us today. We thank most sincerely the President of the Senate. We thank the Speaker of the House of Representatives. We thank the former Vice President and the former Chief of General Staff. We thank the wife of our former Head of State. We thank the representative of wife of a former Head of State, who I refer to as the chairman of the Children of Retired Army Officers Association, Ambassador Toby Ironsi. Big thanks must go to each and every one of you for having been able to come here tonight to share in this celebration. But our great thanks must go to the organizers of this ceremony, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and all the permanent secretaries and members of his staff who have put this occasion together. We thank them for a job very well done. To each and every one of you, I pray that as we have celebrated Nigeria today at 59, that God will give each and every one of us the opportunity to be here next year to celebrate Nigeria's 60th anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot leave here without thanking most sincerely our keynote speaker, Professor Benedict Orama, for his incisive speech. And I use this opportunity to call on him to please provide me with a copy of that speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our nation, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has a pilot in command and a co-pilot with a vision for greater altitude that we must gain as we journey on. May I request I will rise as I invite His Excellency, our amiable Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, GCON, for his special remarks. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much. Please sit. Your Excellency, the President, Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, former Chief of General Staff, Lieutenant General Oladipo Dia, former Vice President, Excellency Architect Namadi Sambo, GCON, wife of the Vice President, my dear wife, Mrs. Oludolapo Oshibajo, members of the National Assembly present, members of the Executive Council, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, Acting Head of Service of the Federation, Mrs. Folashade Yemi Esson, wife of the former Head of State, Mrs. Miriam Abacha, permanent secretaries, heads of government agencies and parastatals, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olone Shaki, and service chiefs here present, traditional rulers, religious leaders, former ministers, captains of industry, the keynote speaker and president chairman of the board of directors, AfCFTA, Professor Benedict Orama, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a day that we celebrate our nation and its great people. We celebrate the sterling labors of our heroes past, the sacrifices of so many that have enabled us to be this great nation that we are. We recognize that we are here because so many paid the price, and that we are going forward because many are still making the sacrifice. But this evening, I also want to share with you something lighter, but as important. One of the unique attributes of the Nigerian person, I've described it as the Nigerian swag. That uniquely confident way that makes us stand out everywhere and in everything that we do. So look at this sport called bobsled. They once thought that only white people could do this because it's a winter sport. And if you don't have winter and snow in your country, you can't be a bobsled champion. Well, so they thought until the Nigerians came. At the Winter Olympics in Pyongyang in South Korea, 3 Nigerian girls, Ngozi Onwumere, Akoma Omeoga, and Sheon Adigun, became the first Africans in bobsled at the Winter Olympics. Let's see. And they raced into history in style, and they ended it with a dance. How else would you know that they are Nigerians? The World Cup came in May 2018, but well before the World Cup kicked off, we had started winning. When Nike released the design of our jersey called Naija in February 2018, 3 million people pre-ordered the jersey for $90 a piece online. And eventually thousands of people lined up to buy it. It sold out within hours in the stores. The jersey was lit. So lit that we won the first prize for the best dressed team. Peru came second and Belgium came third. And then there is Anthony Joshua. As far as we are concerned, the best boxer in the world. Not only is he a heavy hitter, but he could also pass for a model. So much swag. Anthony Joshua. How about the Nigerian wedding? That has become the toast of the world. Amongst other things, we are teaching the world that every wedding deserves a hashtag. So we have that. Bad 2017. That's the one of Banky W and Adeswa Etomi. And then there's hashtag Yemi Dolly 1989. Eat your hearts out. That's me and my lovely wife. Then to the dramatic entrance of the bridal party. Let's look at that one. The groom flying. And of course, the Ashwebi. That's the Ashwebi there. And everywhere, they are learning, our languages. They are learning Nigerian languages everywhere. So see, here is a kindergarten class in China. The children are learning Igbo.
Otu, Abo, Ato, Ano, Ise, Isi, Asa, Asato, Itolu, Iri.
Very soon, everyone is going to be speaking Igbo. Our contemporary dances have so much swag. From Skelewu to Sekem. How many people know Skelewu? To Skekem, to Shakiti Bobo, to Shaku Shaku, and the most recent, Zanku. I'm sure you all know how to Bese, Bebodie. So all over the world, now look at them. That is Bese for those who don't know. All over the world, everybody is Beseing now. All over the world. And just hear this. Hear this. Oh boy. Nobody dances like us. Nobody dances like us. And it doesn't matter whether you are the distinguished senator representing Kogi West or the distinguished senator representing Osun West. Nobody dances like us. Or for that matter, if you are the richest man in Africa, all of us dance. Or, for that matter, even if you are the president of Africa's largest economy, oh boy, we just love to dance. We just love to dance. And our dancing has swag. Every Nigerian can dance. It doesn't matter how old you are. We just have that rhythm, that that thing that is so Nigerian. It doesn't matter your age. And even if, like President Obasanjo, you really can't dance, you still have your own swag anyway. When it comes to fashion, we are masters of style. From the geles. And look at what Iyarembo is wearing. And of course, the famous Madame Kofo's gele. Nigerians have brought Ankara to mainstream fashion. So Nigerian designers are making waves internationally. With the infusion of Ankara in all their collections, and the likes of Lisa Folawiyo, Maki O, Andrew Yama, Kenneth Eze, Moa Ogunlesi, have been featured in Vogue and other international fashion magazines, and events such as the New York Fashion Week. The Nigerian-American designer, Enna Odemba, designed Beyonce's drop-dead gorgeous Ankara outfit that you're seeing up there. Today, the whole world is wearing our Ankara, from Michelle Obama, Rihanna, and Kim Kardashian. Everybody is wearing the Nigerian Ankara. And Agbada became a movement after the Merry Men movie premiere with the Agbada Challenge. And just look at the Agbada Challenge. And even the politicians have caught the bug. And you'll see, there you go. The politicians have also caught the bug of the Agbada Challenge. And then here comes, featuring with his trademark black kaftan, the #1 swag, the PMB swag. Happy Independence, everybody. God bless you.
Mr. Vice President, sir.
Gaza tread the path of peace and prosperity as we continue to uphold and cherish our unity.
President Buhari solicits cooperation of Nigerians in strengthening unity and development as Nigeria marks 59th independence anniversary.
And we can see what the great revolution of the government is doing, creating facilities, creating an enabling environment.
Correspondence on sectoral analysis of Nigeria's journey since independence. Plus, welfare of Nigerians to top discussions with Cyril Ramaphosa as President Buhari sets for South Africa. Good evening and welcome. Thanks for joining us on this special occasion of Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary. I am Jummai Yusuf. Michael Olale joins us from Lagos and Chine Nwoye is on standby in Enugu. We begin with President Buhari's broadcast to the nation where he said it was time for all Nigerians to bury their differences and work assiduously towards achieving a united, prosperous and purposeful nation. The president is optimistic that in the face of the 21st century opportunities and challenges, Nigeria will emerge stronger and more resilient than ever. The president in the broadcast marking the nation's 59th independence anniversary also made a case for combating corruption at every turn. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
Fellow Nigerians, let me reiterate my call for unity across our dear nation.
President Muhammadu Buhari is convinced that if Nigerians had been united in purpose, greater achievements would have been recorded by his administration in securing the country, enhancing the economy and fighting corruption.
The path of hatred and distress only leads to hostility and destruction. I believe that the vast majority of Nigerians would rather tread the path of peace and prosperity as we continue to uphold and cherish our unity.
The federal government, he emphasized, is committed to not only responsibly managing the nation's oil endowments and prudently saving oil income, but also investing more in the non-oil job-creating sectors.
We will also continue our fight against illegal bunkering of crude oil and the smuggling of refined petroleum products across our borders, including the diligent prosecution and conviction of offenders found guilty of these acts.
The Ogoni cleanup, the president promised, will be accelerated, so also efforts at improving the power sector towards complementing other infrastructure investment projects like the Mambila Hydro Power Plant, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Second Niger Bridge, as well as Abuja-Kano Expressway. To this end, the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning has been directed to release 600 billion naira for capital expenditure in the next 3 weeks. On agricultural development, President Buhari said Nigeria's journey to food security and self-sufficiency is well underway.
We have made remarkable progress in almost all segments of the agriculture value chain. We must not go back to the days of importing food and thereby exporting jobs.
The president also gives reasons for the recent constitution of the Economic Advisory Council, saying this is to ensure that Nigeria remains on track as it strives for collective prosperity. Consequently, revenue generating and reporting agencies will henceforth be greatly scrutinized, exceptional revenue performance rewarded, while severe consequences will attend failure to achieve agreed revenue targets.
We are also committed to ensure that the inconvenience associated with any painful policy adjustments is moderated, such that the poor and the vulnerable who are most at risk do not bear the brunt. We shall continue to invest in education, health, water and sanitation, as well as food security, to ensure that the basic needs of our teeming youth are met, while providing them with every opportunity to live peaceful, prosperous, and productive lives.
The Nigerian leader, who takes pride in the billions of naira saved through the various institutional reforms, reaffirmed the government's commitment towards ensuring that transparency and good governance are institutionalized in public service.
The blight of corruption is fighting back. Nevertheless, this is a battle that we shall see through, and this is a war which we shall win by the grace of God. I will also call upon all Nigerians from every walk of life to combat corruption at every turn. Together, we can overcome corruption and will no longer be a country defined by corruption.
President Buhari called on states to intensify their own efforts towards instilling greater fiscal transparency and accountability through efficient and optimum use of scarce resources. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a special change of presidential guards silent drill display formed part of activities that took place at the presidential villa Abuja in commemoration of Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary. State House correspondent Jide Onifade tells us more on this.
These are members of the Presidential Guard Brigade in silent drill display. And the precision with which this is being done draws applause from guests. There are many lessons to be learned from this event. One is the composition of the group, which is made up of equal number of male and female officers. This, as some of the guests note, is an indication of what the president's vision of a new Nigeria is, a nation where equity and justice will reign, where every Nigerian will have equal opportunity to participate in the task of nation building.
The National Assembly, particularly where we are, is prepared to ensure that we come and give very good legislations that will ensure that the economy does better, that the security of this country improves, that at the end of the day, we should be able to achieve those laudable objectives and goals of our founding fathers and present leadership of the country.
A long way. It's not a huru yet, we're not there yet, but it's a slow and steady progress. We will get there.
Yes, we acknowledge challenges, but going forward, we must be very positive in our attitude. And like the President said this morning, the change must begin with each and every one of us. In our various spheres of influence endeavors, we must begin to change our attitude, our ways of doing things.
Once elections are over, I think everybody should join us together to build the country. Because I believe that even those in opposition, they mean well for Nigeria. And therefore, they should join hands with the government. And let's build a very united and prosperous Nigeria.
I think that is every reason to celebrate. We remain one nation. We have our challenges. I do not know of any nation that doesn't have challenges. But whatever you want to say, my conclusion is Nigeria is much more than the sum total of all the problems that people talk about. I am very confident that the future can only be better.
There's a lot that Mr. President is doing to ensure that the welfare of civil servants is taken care of, and we are all appreciative of that.
We have a transformational leadership that is laying the basic foundational structure for this country to stand on in the years ahead.
We urge our people to be patient and tolerant with the government as we move to the next level, so that the present government can deliver what we call dividends of democracy to our own people.
Are you sure you are coming over correctly?
Yes, sir! The conduct of the change of guards arrayed proper, aside other displays, include the handing and taking over procedure up to the brigade commander, who in turn reports to the president.
New guards are taken over correctly.
And receives permission to join the guards. The event also formed part of the Nigerian Independence Anniversary celebrations, and the president signs the National Anniversary Register, cuts the anniversary cake, and releases the pigeons, a symbol of peace and unity. In the views of many of the dignitaries, the army and other security agencies have demonstrated and still demonstrating the commitment to having a peaceful and united country. And this is also expected of all Nigerians. From the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
In the meantime, United States of America's President Donald Trump has extended his warm regard to the people of Nigeria and President Muhammadu Buhari for the 59th anniversary celebration. In a statement issued by the American Embassy, President Trump describes Nigeria as America's strongest partner in Africa. He said Nigeria and the U.S. share common goals on expanding trade and growing economic relations, as well as partnership in the fight against terrorism. President Trump applauded efforts of the Buhari administration in kicking out Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa. Still on the independence celebrations, Mayor Ogidi captured the mood in some states in the country.
Uniformity of steps that depict Governor Okowa's wish of unity for Nigeria. All classes of people seated at the cenotaph Asaba for the 59th independence celebration, with a message on the sustenance of the indelible legacies of the founding fathers.
At 59, we are bound to make further progress and follow the speed of sustainable development across the globe as a united people.
The dexterity of the Nigerian police was not in short supply in Ibadan, Oyo State. Governor Seyi Makinde, though represented, renewed the stand of the state government in the promotion of the One Nigeria project.
I congratulate you and urge you to pray. You have a successful time.
In Kano State, it was a memorable outing for the security agencies, and for the state government, the celebration should serve as a reminder on the need to uphold the unity that strengthened the founding fathers to achieve such victory in 1960.
Upon the resolve and commitment of this administration to continue to spread the gospel of peace and unity.
For Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, the Independence Day celebration was dedicated to holding talks with the religious community and the youths to chart a way forward in contributing to national integration and nation building, while those not part of the indoor meeting visit relaxation sports with best wishes for Nigeria.
I wish Nigeria good hope.
And it will be well with Nigeria.
In Kebbi State, it was low-keyed, devoid of the usual fanfare, as Governor Abubakar Bagudu addressed the state during an interaction with the media.
Even with shortages in revenue, President Muhammadu Buhari in the last 4 years have been able to confront the insecurity challenge.
Words of advice and need for tolerance came from prominent members from the home of solid minerals, that is Nasarawa State.
It is dishonest, it is unpatriotic for anyone to say there has been no progress. There has been progress.
We have had our challenges, political, economic, and otherwise. However, with the coming of this administration and with the vision of Mr. President, after the first 4 years, one can clearly see that Nigeria is on a path to attaining excellence.
For the Alumni Association of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Nigerians have a lot of positives to reflect on, ranging from improved national security, revamping of the economy, and the setting up of the Northeast Development Commission. President of the association and Nigeria's police chief, Mohammed Adamu, in a statement appealed to all to work with those in authority to reflect the dreams of the nation's founding fathers.
Away from stories marking Nigeria's independence, President Muhammadu Buhari will be departing Abuja tomorrow on a 3-day state visit to the Republic of South Africa, following an invitation by President Cyril Ramaphosa to discuss welfare of Nigerians and find common grounds for building harmonious relations with their host. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the visit came against the background of recent xenophobic attacks, the evacuation of hundreds of Nigerians, and the exchange of visits by special envoys of President Buhari and Ramaphosa. While in South Africa, President Buhari will hold a town hall meeting with Nigerians living in the country with a view to sharing their experiences and reassuring them of Nigeria's government's commitment to working for the protection of their lives and property and promoting peaceful coexistence. The President and his host will preside over the South Africa-Nigeria Bi-National Commission, during which a progress report will be presented at the end of the meeting. Both leaders will sign a joint communique. The President and his delegation, including Nigerian business representatives, will also participate at the South African Nigerian Business Forum with their host counterparts. President Buhari will return to Abuja on Friday. Still ahead, sectoral analysis of success story in Nigeria's journey. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Adeleke University, a faith-based learning institution located in the serene and historic town of Ede, Osun State, Nigeria, running on the well-thought vision of its founding fathers to improve lives and society. The institution offers affordable and quality education. We are currently offering admission into our faculties of science, engineering, law, and art. We are also offering entry into the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences and the Faculty of Business and Social Science. Our College of Postgraduate Studies offers you the chance to earn your master's and doctorate's degree in over 30 disciplines. For more inquiries, please visit www.adelikeuniversity.edu.ng. You can also call 0806-820-2021. Adeleke University. Education, excellence, character.
On behalf of the good people of Gombe State,
I celebrate with the President Muhammadu Buhari, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, on the occasion of Nigeria's 59th independence celebration. It is another opportunity for us to sustain the legacies of our founding fathers as we build a unified, peaceful and stronger nation. Long live Gombe State. Long live Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Signed,
Muhammadu Inwaihaya, Governor, Gombe State.
It has happened though. The best is here. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC) has introduced the latest meter asset provider regulations (MAP). The meter asset provider will eliminate estimated billing in the country. This new deal means customers will have meters installed in their premises while they pay the service charge over a period of time. But when the customer decides to make full upfront payment for the meter asset, such customer will be exempted from the payment of metering service charge and your meter will be installed within 10 working days. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC).
What makes a nation truly unstoppable? It's being able to push in the face of odds, rise above limitations, and realize that everyone's effort counts when it comes to nation building. What makes us unstoppable? It's when we work together as a team without letting our differences hold us back. There's no stopping the Nigerian dream. Reach for your peak, Nigeria. Happy Independence Day.
The management and staff of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, in partnership with Australia Awards, announces the holding of the first of its kind international conference with the theme, Strengthening Women's Involvement in Public-Private Partnership. Special guest of honor, Hajia Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Date, Wednesday 2nd to Friday 4th October 2019. Venue, Lagos Osun Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt. This event is strictly by invitation. The management and staff of the ICRC also wishes to heartily congratulate His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari and the good people of Nigeria on our nation's 59th independence celebration. God bless Nigeria. Engineer Chidi KC Izua, Senior Director General CEO, ICRC, announcer.
Hey you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person with them go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo, Ogalekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one. A spear into the top hole. We Sabi say Peking will crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for her. Go for football. Go for Osirio on the Liga Marches live. Go for GoTV Max.
The Joint Committees of Senate and House of Representatives on Finance announced a change of time for its public hearing on the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework MTEF Fiscal Strategy Papers, FSP 2020 to 2023, slated for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. All invited federal government agencies are to note the change of time accordingly placed. Announcer, Senator Solomon Adeola, FCA, Chairman, Senate Committee on Finance.
Thanks for rejoining us. A country that cannot feed itself cannot boast of self-pride. This is the popular saying by agriculturists who insist that the political and economic sovereignty of a nation rests on its ability to ensure food security. What are the success stories in Nigeria's agriculture sector in the last 59 years? Our agriculture correspondent Bausa Baba Aliu takes a look at the country's food production and supply history, prospects and the challenges as the nation turns 59.
Many Nigerians are of the view that it will be impossible for Nigeria to revert her agricultural program to the way it was in the 60s and 70s. During the said period, The country was only exporting raw agricultural produce and in return importing processed food items. Road networks and research institutions were established to enhance production to meet international demands. Commodity marketing boards were also set up to coordinate the marketing of cash crops such as cocoa, cotton, groundnut, timber and rubber.
These were the things that helped the then three regions to build strong economies that sustained their regions while they paid tribute to the national government.
From the time once there was sectoral allocation of credit, where industry were being allocated direct by the government to direct the commercial bank, you have to invest 25% of your total deposit to agriculture, maybe 5% or 15% to manufacturing, and so on and so on.
This only lasted for only 2 decades due to the collapse of the agricultural programs occasioned by the discovery of oil, as well as change of governments. Since then, the country became food dependent.
We reached a situation, we might say, we are not even able to feed ourselves. What we are exporting, as I've said earlier, we started importing it.
Time of Shehu Shagari, we were talking of green revolution. Then General Obasanjo came up with Operation Feed the Nation. We should now be thinking of a strategic crop.
We shall make greater investments in our rural economies.
The coming on board of Muhammadu Buhari as Nigeria's president is changing the trend, putting in place various agricultural programs. This also includes the restriction of importation of food that can be produced locally, as well as providing financial and technical support to smallholder farmers.
We shall aggressively source locally our raw materials. We have incentives for investments specifically made in rural communities.
And we can see what the great revolution of the government is doing, creating facilities, creating an enabling environment, creating having to build about 14, revive 14 moribund fertilizer companies across the country. Anchor Borrower scheme has got more than 300 billion.
Focus of the administration is not only to enhance primary production of food items, but also process and add value before export. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Still in the spirit of the celebration of the 59th Independence Anniversary, music enthusiasts converged on the Millennium Park in Abuja to commemorate the day through dance and music at the Republic concert. Fun seekers amid the funfair call for an inclusive government and enabling environment for the youth to thrive. Elizabeth Omori reports that more than 2 performers featured at the concert.
They are young and energetic Nigerians giving account of themselves on stage through their pulsating performances, all in the bid to celebrate Nigeria's 59th independence. More than 20 artists performed at the concert this year. Their performance rekindled their determination to grow and move the nation's creative industry to a greater pedestal through their arts. As Nigerians bask in the euphoria of the great achievements recorded for the past 59 years, the youngsters are advocating for more enabling platforms to thrive and contribute to the nation's gross domestic product.
Lots of things that can help better the economy and to keep the young Nigerians active. So this is an initiative to support, help and nurture us.
To actually celebrate Nigeria, obviously, not about fighting, but actually contributing to Nigeria positively, not negatively. So we should actually abstain from cybercrime. Yahoo, we should actually stop that.
Fun seekers who were thrilled by electrifying stunts pulled by choreographers had this to say.
Come around, have fun, try to bond, cohesion, and that is what Nigeria is all about.
The show is great. We look forward to a better Nigeria.
The show also featured performances from Flavor, Mayokun, Style Plus, among other Nigerian music acts. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Away from the 59th independence anniversary, the federal government has described an internet-based rumor and uninformed media commentary regarding presidential term limits as incorrect. The rumor gives credence to support groups staging street demonstrations asking President Buhari to embark on a third term in office. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says there are no circumstances nor set of circumstances under which President Buhari may seek to amend the Constitution regarding the two-term limit on holding office as president. It adds that President Buhari intends to serve his full-term elected term in office ending 2023, and then there shall be a general election in which he will not be a candidate. The statement clearly indicates that there is not even the faintest possibility that this will change. It also explains that it is important to note that there was a past attempt to change the constitution to allow for the then incumbent president to stand for a third term. It insists this is wrong, unconstitutional, and rightly rebuffed, adding that no such attempt will happen under President Buhari. The statement says President Buhari is a Democrat who respects the Constitution, so any activity aimed at altering the two-term limit will not succeed and shall never gain his support. Let's now join Michael in our Lagos Network Center for stories from that zone. Hello, Michael. Happy Independence Anniversary.
Hello, Jumai, and welcome to Lagos. The future is bright for Nigeria and the plan of God for the nation will not change. These are the words of pastor in charge of the Household of God Church International Ministries, Reverend Chris Okoti, at a special independence service in Lagos. Joy Ken Abakuya was at the service and brings details.
It's Nigeria's independence anniversary, and the mood at the Household of God Church is that of celebration. Patriotic is the word that best describes the pastor in charge and the congregation, as they had nothing back in giving praises and adoration to God for sustaining Nigeria for 59 years. Reverend Chris Okoti, in his message, says God's purpose is for Nigeria to excel above nations of the world. He admonished Nigerians to focus on the goal of achieving greatness, embrace change, and be faithful to the service of God and the nation.
Let no one's heart be troubled on account of these vicissitudes that currently embrace the corporeality of our nation, because we know that they are transient and they will pass, but Nigeria will remain. It is well with Nigeria, so happy celebrations.
The annual Independence Service featured special prayers for Nigeria and her leaders. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakuya, NTA News.
The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association NECA network of entrepreneurial women is calling on women to participate in politics as a way of profitably influencing their business initiative. This is coming ahead of the 2019 summit of the association expected to be held in Lagos. This gathering is in line with the new strategic thrust of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association network of entrepreneurial women to expand the spectrum of opportunities available for small and medium-scale enterprises. The association believes women hold the key to economic prosperity in Africa, which underscores the need to nurture and tailor these marketable ideas to deliver gains. NECA Network of Entrepreneurial Women is however planning to hold a summit in this direction with focus on issues that will enable women-owned businesses to thrive.
It's no longer making money to survive. It's now making money to hand over to the next generation so that they will continue to be relevant within the economy of the nation.
This is the 5th year the summit will be held with the theme, Power Up, No Limitation.
We want women to know that there is no peak, there is no height they cannot attain business-wise. That whatever they can envision, they will be able to achieve it. And we want to give them the tools, the mentoring, and the leeway to get there.
The NECA Network of Entrepreneurial Women is expanding its horizon towards opening up channels of business initiative for women. That's a contribution from Lagos nationwide. The news continues after the timer. Please stay tuned.
Start your day easier and happier with LG Inverter. Gain peace of mind with an efficient laundry cycle. Feel cooler air even at midday without any worries. Enjoy mealtime with food kept fresh all day long. The LG Inverter enriches your everyday life. Better inverter, LG Inverter.
Is a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem Soft Gel.
Amatem Soft Gel makes treating malaria easy. Amatem Soft Gel is a game changer.
Oh! The opponent is down! Amatem Soft Gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
The buzz of alarms hails you. Captain of the home. Lady of the grind. Through the days of close deals and office politics, the carefree laughter of your little ones drives you. Even with school fees wahala, still you continue to push and believe. And these children where you see so, go grow and prosper. Because at Union Bank, there's a loan for everyone. Apply today. Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
All my fears are running. What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women. And it's not always easy. Play the hero for a Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Hey, you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person with them go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Ogalekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We sabi say Peking will crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Syria on the Liga Martins live. Go for GoTV Max.
Let's now talk business with Amina Nojim. Hello, Amina. It's Independence Day. What's the business climate like?
I'll tell you in just a minute.
Okay.
Yes, it is a public holiday to mark Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary, and so financial institutions and the Nigerian Stock Exchange remain shut. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari, in his Independence Day broadcast, says the economy remains a priority and the country will continue to pursue accelerated, sustainable and all-inclusive growth through the stimulation of the non-oil sector. The oil sector comprised only 8% of the gross domestic product, yet contributing 70% of government's revenue and 90% foreign exchange earnings over the years.
Regrettably, previous governments abandoned the residual investment-driven non-oil sector, which constituted 40% of gross domestic product. To address this imbalance, Our commitment to achieving economic diversification has been at the heart of our economic strategies under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which I launched on 5th of April 2017.
Since Nigeria's exiting of recession, the country has recorded 9 consecutive quarters of growth. Fitch Ratings in its new outlook says that global economy has deteriorated significantly due to acceleration in the US-China trade war. It forecasts world growth next year to fall to the lowest rate since 2012. Fitch World's GDP growth forecasts for both 2019 and 2020 have been lowered by 0.2% since June in response to the sharp escalation in the US-China trade war over the summer. Global growth is projected to fall at 2.6% this year and 2.5% next year from 3.2% in 2018. It would be the slowest pace of expansion since 2012 when the Eurozone crisis was at its peak. And that's it from the business desk. Jummai, back to you.
Thank you so much, Amina. We now join Chineye in Enugu for the latest story from there. Happy Independence, Chineye.
Thank you, Jummai, and welcome to Enugu. With committed collective patriotism and sacrifices by all citizens, Nigeria will be great again, and the heroes of our past will be happy that their labors were not in vain. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi expressed this hope at the Independence Day celebration at the Michael Obas Square in Enugu. Susan Eze has details.
With a salute and a call for a minute's silence in memory of those he described as Nigeria's esteemed nationalists and freedom fighters, people like late Herbert Macaulay, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Amadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, among others. Governor Ugwuanyi, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, acknowledged their patriotism and selfless service to the nation. Congratulating the President and Vice, Muhammadu Buhari and Professor Yemi Oshibajo on the occasion of the nation's 59th independence anniversary. The governor acknowledged their efforts and that of the nation's past leaders at steering the ship of the nation through troubled waters. He expressed the hope of brighter future through hard work and dedication to nationhood.
I am proud that with committed leadership and collective patriotism and sacrifices, Nigeria will be great again.
Major participants at the Independence Day ceremony were school children who competed in the march past. The celebration was wrapped up with a parade at the government house where Governor Ugwuanyi inspected the guard mounted by the Enugu State Police Command. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Network News continues with Jummai in Abuja after this commercial break. Please stay with us.
Nigeria's 59th independence anniversary, gains, challenges, and projections for the future. That is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. The program, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m., promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
It don't reach 50 years now when that program they call village headmaster begin. You know the program now. That program when all of now they run, go home, go look for my television.
I want you now to formally tender your apology to Headmaster Ali for causing him so much embarrassment.
Now 50 years now. So because of that, we won't get big party where we will start everything for the 8th of October till the 11th of October. Now me, I'm a body invite you now. I'm a belly just the sweet. Because I don't say all those people they drink my party, then go come drink the tombo again. And me, radio jam they call you now. They will not forget it.
Welcome back. Next is Sports Update with Tamara Ebue.
As Nigeria celebrates 59 years of independence, the sports enthusiasts are not left out as they bear their minds on how the country has fared in sports since independence.
Some teams have been able to record success at the international level and even the local level. On the basketball scene, I'm sure you know we made it to the Olympics, and both female and male. So a little bit of ups here and then a little bit of down here.
At 59, we ought to grow and we ought to make some impact on some areas of sports. President Muhammadu Buhari, he has tried a lot. Presently, the sports minister, a lot is being expected of him.
After the reinstatement of the duo of Blessing Okagbare Igor Tegwono and Divine Oduduru to compete in the IAAF Championships in Doha, the two have failed to progress. Blessing, who came fourth in 200 meters, would have been one of the best losers, but was disqualified for lane violation, while Divine came last in the semi-final of men's 200 meters. Expectations are now high for Nigeria to win medals from athletes competing in other events. From Jalingo, Taraba State, correspondent Joseph Osen reports that Bauchi State won the maiden edition of the Women Under-17 Northeast Zonal Volleyball Championship, organized by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, aimed at developing young talents.
We want them to come through a system, this system of competitions, so that they will be identified right from the grassroots.
6 states from the zone participated in the 3-day event. With sports update, Tamara Ebue, NTA News.
Now a quick check on the weather prospect for Wednesday.
You're welcome. This is what we expect across the country come Wednesday morning. We anticipate some weather systems to develop over the western flank of the country. And this is to give thunderstorms activities over Sokoto, Gusau, Niger, some parts of Abuja, extending to places around Jos, Lokoja, as well as places over Adamawa. Thunderstorms are also expected over the western part of the south. And for the rest of the cities not affected by these activities, we expect them to be in relatively cloudy conditions. And by afternoon, the bulk of the weather activities is towards the eastern part of the country, talking about Meduguri, Kano, Duse, Gombe, some parts of Yola, as well as cities over the south. And for the temperature forecast, do stand by. I am Akabi Samarda. Thanks for watching.
That's the news for tonight, a special Independence edition. Thanks for watching.